Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well out there. So, I have a story from you from one of my Discord members. You get into my Discord by being a member of my Patreon. Now, I recently asked for stories from people inside the motorcycle industry. I did a video which you've probably seen, and I actually got 0 responses from that, so I don't think anyone wants to share any of their stories, probably because they're worried it's going to come back to them, which is fair enough. I did have one offer if someone wanted to give me the story through Discord, and if you're a member of Discord, you're already in there. If I don't have it written, I'm not going to be giving your words, I'm going to be giving my memory of your words. So I don't do verbal to thing, it's written to, so that's why. However, I do have a motorcycle story, and this comes from one of my Discord members. This is from Fitzy. Now, I was in a room chatting with him and a few other people, and he mentioned this, and my brain just went, what? And when he gave me the quick version of the story, I was like, could you write that out and send it to me so I can read it to people? And he very kindly agreed with doing that, and I now am going to read you the story, or one of the unluckiest stories I think I've ever heard of from a motorcyclist. It's impressive. I was sitting at a roundabout by a Shell garage on my Yamaha MT125. I'd had it at less than 24 hours at this point. The next thing I know, I'm sat on the bonnet of a cream Mini with my bike half over and half under the Mini. Woman that was driving hops out and says, "I didn't see you. Please turn up," and do the normal breathalyzer and accident stuff. They find out that she was on her phone, and they discovered this by looking at her own dash camera. Smart. Smart. I go through insurance and get a decent payout and go and buy my new bike, a CBR 125R with 35,000 K on the clock. So, you know, it's the classic story of getting rear-ended, brand new bike, nothing to do with him, she's on her phone, stupid idiot had a dash cam running, so it just helped him massively. So I guess that's one of the good things about dash cams, is it proves when someone else does something wrong. So it's not a great situation, but lots of us have had that happen. This is where the twist comes. A year and 3 months later, I'm on the same roundabout, waiting behind an 18.5 tonne wagon. Then bam! The next thing I know, I am sat in the windscreen of the same Mini with the same driver from his MT125 accident. This time the police happened to be right behind them, so instantly they were out and helping him, getting an ambulance to him. The wagon driver drives forward a little bit and sees the blue lights behind him and thinks, oh, better get out, and basically runs back and says, "I didn't feel any impact." And you know, for lorry drivers, they may not feel a bike hitting the back of their trailer. There's just so much rocking around and moving, but he wasn't even really involved in this, obviously, because he was sat still. So Fitzy goes on. During this, I'm looking at my bike in 3 pieces. This is quite impressive. When I had a bad accident, my bike got snapped in half. I thought 2 pieces was impressive. He got it into 3. I'm sat looking at the 3 pieces of my mangled bike under the Mini and flat at the front from where it hit, from where the wagon was. So it obviously gone into the wagon. Turns out the swing arm had snapped with part of the frame still attached. So it must have been around, like, you know, the pivot axle had taken the mounts off of the frame with the swing arm. And the headstock had snapped, so the front wheel was now where the rider's pegs are. So the whole thing had just into a squidged. Oh. He was then put into a back brace with full neck protection, back injury protocol, later to find out in A&E that he'd actually fractured a vertebrae and his coccyx was in 2 to 3 pieces. This time, the woman was 2.5 times over the drink drive limit, and she was on her phone at the same time again. Now, a lot of people at this point are going to say she probably got, you know, a year ban and a slap on the wrist. Oh no. I'm quite glad to say that it's quite the opposite in this case, because I think this was the tip of the iceberg. She ended up getting banned for around 10 years for a load of things, including dangerous driving and a vehicle not in a fit state for the road. Fitzy ended up saying that bikes weren't for him for a while, took a break from it, got a car until he moved to London, when he decided to go and do his A2, bought an MT-07, and he is currently looking to do his full A in October of 2023, where he's planning to buy a BMW S1000 RR. And I wish you, Fitzy, all of the luck in the world, because he hasn't had much. And it gets worse. I did actually message him and said, have you got any pictures of any of this so I can add with it as I'm reading your story? And he added to this by saying, I'm afraid I can't, because the phone that they were on was stolen. I am blown away by the bad luck of this. I mean, it's so unlikely. Maybe you can look at it from the perspective of, well, who's that ever going to happen to? Like, I don't know, you get a concussion from a dead duck dying in the sky and hitting you in the side of the head or something. You know, at that point, you're not going to worry it's going to happen again, but with rear endings and stuff, you would. But it was the same woman both times, and you know why it happened both times. It's a mad story, and thank you so much, Fitzy, for letting me read this to everyone, because I think the stories like this about bikers and things, it's interesting, and maybe it can give you a perspective on things that you're maybe not feeling so great about, and saying, well, if someone else can get through these things, maybe I can also get through those. Plus, it's just entertaining. As I don't mean to enjoy this in a schadenfreude, or whatever it's called, way. Fitzy has happily shared this story with me, knowing I'm going to be making a video about it. So if you'd like to say to Fitzy in the comments, best of luck with his full A in 2023 and getting his S1000RR, then please do that. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. As I may have mentioned at the beginning of this video, I can't remember, I asked for industry inside stories from people who, sell motorcycles, and the stories they have from customers, because normally they can't share those stories because they don't want their customers knowing. And I thought I could tell those stories from their perspective without it being traceable, but I think the problem is people are like, probably not a good idea. So I've had no entries to that at all. However, this story did highlight that some of you bikers have got really interesting stories too. But the reason I didn't want to open this up publicly to everyone, is in the sense of anyone who rides a bike, is because what's interesting to you may not be interesting to other people. So what I'm saying here is that I'm happy to make videos like this from stories you may send to that email address from everyday people, biking stories. Try and keep it to an A4 page so I can read it in like a 10-minute video. And I also will say here now that there is a chance that none of them will get read out, because it really is going to have to grab me. Like, this had an element of super bad luck to it. I can't believe someone would get hit by the same person twice like this. And all the mitigating circumstances around it, it just makes it an incredible story. So it's going to have to be a good story for me to pick it out. Now, interestingly, someone asked last time about, if I send you a story, do I get paid? I didn't think to qualify that. I will say it here. No, I'm not paying you for the story. The idea is that I'm going to share your story for everyone to hear, and then you can then see in the comments, people's responses to your story. I can't guarantee you that the audience is going to agree with you. I can't guarantee that I'm going to agree with you. It all depends. If you've got pictures and stuff to go with it, that's great, but don't put weeks into writing this out, because seriously, if I look at it and just go, that's not interesting, I don't want to wipe out a week of your work like that. So really only do this if you think it's something that's interesting. If you would like to help support this channel, like Fitzy, the wonderful Fitzy, after all that, he still helps support this channel. I appreciate it, dude. If you'd like to be like Fitzy and get into Discord and chat with me there, then please do that. Links are in the description to get into Patreon, that then gets you into Discord. As I say, the email address is down there as well to show your story, but again, no guarantees that I will be reading yours unless it's... I'll tell you what, if I'm going to read it, I'll just reply and say, yeah, I'm going to read it. I'm not going to reply and say, no, I'm not going to read each one, because then I have to give an explanation as to why. So there you go. Until the next one, bye-bye.